Hello, I'm Wisteria Perry with the Williamsburg Battlefield Association, and today we're going to look at some of the hidden history of Civil War Williamsburg. On the eve of the Civil War, about half of Williamsburg population was black. The 1860 census counted 748 enslaved persons, 121 free blacks or mulattoes, with another 19 of undetermined status listed at the Eastern State Lunatic Asylum. In Tidewater, Virginia as a whole, the tobacco economy of the 18th and early 19th centuries has moved further west, and food production has become the primary agricultural pursuit. Enslaved workers farmed large crops of wheat, corn, potatoes, peas, and oats. Additionally, both enslaved and free men worked as watermen, fishing and gathering oysters in the James and York River. Most of the enslaved population within Williamsburg proper, however, did not work the fields, but rather worked in domestic support roles or were skilled labor. When the war began, Confederate authorities commenced to the construction of defensive works outside of town. To provide manpower for this purpose, authorities hired free black laborers and conscripted enslaved men and women. Through 1861, many in bondage began running to Hampton and nearby Fort Monroe, which presented a thorny problem for federal commanders. Slavery was still legal under the United States law, and the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 required federal authorities to assist in the return of runaways to their owners. Union General Benjamin Butler, commanding at Fort Monroe, refused to do so. Three enslaved men arrived at his headquarters at Fort Monroe and asked for refuge and claimed that they were going to be sent to work on Confederate fortifications. Their owner requested that Butler returned his property as required by the Fugitive Slave Act. Butler, a lawyer before the war, determined that since Virginians claimed to have left the Union, the fugitive slave law did not apply to them. Furthermore, because Confederates considered those who were enslaved to be property, Butler used international law as justification to confiscating that property if it was to be used to wage war against the United States. By his actions, those individuals became contraband of war. The term contraband came to mean enslaved individuals who were seeking protection and freedom. Contraband camps quickly sprang up around Hampton and Fort Monroe, protected by federal troops. With the federal occupation of Williamsburg in May of 1862, most of those remaining in town quickly left their owners, but a number stayed, mostly the elderly, through loyalty to various families. Some stayed simply because Williamsburg was their home. One free washerwoman and cook, Rocktilda Rollerson, worked for the federal troops in Williamsburg while acting as a spy and passing on military information to the Confederates outside of town. Many others seized the opportunity to be of assistance in the fight against their former owners. During the Battle of Williamsburg on May 5, 1862, at least 16 enslaved people made their way to the Union commanders on the field and offered information about the Confederates and their defenses. The new year of 1863 brought with it the Emancipation Proclamation. However, certain areas of Virginia were excluded from the proclamation. Williamsburg found itself in an interesting situation in regards to the proclamation. Only persons enslaved in areas still in rebellion against the United States government were considered free. At the time, the city of Williamsburg was under federal control and martial law had been implemented. In addition, the northern half of the city was in York County, which was specifically mentioned as an exempted county, while the southern half of the city was in James City County, still considered to be under Confederate control and under the proclamation. The dividing line between the two counties was the main street of the town. Who was freed and who was still enslaved? the federal provost marshal seemed to have taken matters into his own hands. With the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, the occupying federal troops considered all enslaved people in Williamsburg now free. However, it wasn't until December 1865, with the ratification of the 13th Amendment, that the institution of slavery was officially abolished in the United States. We hope you've enjoyed this piece of Williamsburg Civil War history. I'm Wisteria Perry with the Williamsburg Battlefield Association. For more information, find us online at our website or on Facebook. Thank you for watching.